we'll move on to our program, and our presenter this afternoon is Seth Pratt. And Seth asked me to talk just a couple of things about comparison between Rotary and FFA and vocational agriculture. FFA was a really important part of my youth. As I mentioned earlier, I had the opportunity to serve as a chapter and a state officer. And I know that a lot of my leadership skills, such as they are, came from that experience that I had in FFA. And the ability to stand up and speak in front of groups, I can remember that used to be a real daunting task, not so much anymore. But parliamentary procedure was a really important part of what I did in FFA, and it's something that I use to this very day. And in fact, I cringe at many of the meetings I go to where people that are conducting meetings obviously have never had any experience in parliamentary procedure. So there's a number of those kind of skills that are leadership skills, and of course in Rotary, leadership skills, development of our leadership skills as individual members is an important part of who we are and what we do, not only for ourselves but for our community. I mentioned the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. That's a prime example of something that we do as Rotarians to help develop leadership skills in the young people in our community. FFA provides a lot of service to the community, to their schools, to the communities in which the schools reside. Those are important things. We as Rotarians, our motto is service above self. And so there's another similarity. We have, in Rotary, we do a lot of things related to vocation. One of the reasons that Rotary was founded was as for an opportunity for people from different vocations to get together and network and to share and to learn from each other. And that's something that still happens today in Rotary clubs around the world. So another similarity that we have between Rotary and FFA. Both are organizations that have been extremely important in my life, and I'm proud to say that I've been a part of both of them. With that, I'd like to introduce Seth Pratt, and he's going to speak to you a little bit about FFA in Idaho, and then he's going to introduce our 6 state officers who are here with us today and give them an opportunity to share with you who they are and what their aspirations are. So with that, Seth.
Hello, thank you for lunch. I speak on behalf of all of us from FFA. It's nice to come over from an early morning. We've been practicing scripts all day long. Come here and put the wheels down for a little while. Enjoy conversation, enjoy a good meal. Raise your hand if you have former experience as an FFA member. There's several of us. How about just familiarity with the organization and family or communities? Good. At least half the hands are up. That's exciting. FFA originally started back in 1933 when we formed the official dress. That's when people could see it walking down the street. It actually started in 1928, but no one remembers that. There wasn't an FFA jacket and it just wasn't as visible. Back then there was a lot of folks involved in production agriculture, and FFA focused on those individuals, just the people at the farm with the animals, with the crops, day to day. And the membership of our organization continued to grow into the 60s. We reached an all-time high, some mid-60s, and then we started to level and it started to drop off again. And again, we were focused on just the point of agriculture, that was the field and the animals. But agriculture looks very different today than it did in 1930. There's a lot of people involved in feeding the 315 million Americans, but they're not all on the farm anymore. You can see the yogurt facilities, the milk facilities, even here in the Magic Valley, there's massive amounts of agriculture that's not necessarily in the field. FFA needed to wake up to that. In the late 80s, 89 it was, we decided that that's exactly what we do. And once that change was made, FFA membership started growing again. I just checked the numbers a few minutes ago. It's a little different all the time, but we just reached 610,000 members in the United States. That's the largest we've ever been. Really cool. So it's not just about taking the farm kids to the city anymore. It's also taking the city kids to the farm. Some of our largest chapters in the United States are in big cities, Philadelphia, New York City, Chicago. Here in Idaho, our largest Ag Ed program is actually Meridian. I think there's 11 teachers there, am I right, Justin? And so we're seeing more of a bi-directional experience for students. It's not just farm to city, it's also city to farm. And that's important for increasing our society's knowledge about how food is produced, where it comes from, why we do what we do. Those are important things for our society to have a grasp of. Idaho FFA is no exception to the growth that we've seen nationally. Last year we passed what was called the Idaho Ag Ed Initiative that drastically increased the amount of support given to our local programs. It increases the resources it put in the hands of teachers, increases the opportunities available to students, and we've just in January completed the first National FFA Officer Tour. And what that means is the 6 National FFA officers took a week of their training just to spend in Idaho. They did some community service during that week that was pretty impressive. Amanda, when we get to you, if you'll touch on that. Great. While it looks like an agriculture organization and a student youth organization from the outside, what builds us on the inside is the experience of the individual student. We're little more than a massive assembly of memories, experiences, opportunities, the day-to-day experiences of students. In Idaho, a lot of those memories and experiences, because of the hospitality of Twin Falls, happen here. Some of them are really epic. I remember I was a freshman in high school. Of course, back then, I was probably only this tall. So I certainly couldn't reach this microphone. But I did what's called creed speaking, where you talk about, memorize a short speech about the future of agriculture and your role in that future. I remember getting out on that stage to speak, and my knees were shaking. I'd never had that sensation before. And that was the beginning of being able to conquer the fear of being in front of people. Another memory a few years ago that wasn't quite as epic, we were in a car, one young man from Kimberly, myself from Blackfoot, and a young lady from Kuna. And Twin Falls to us was a decently large city, and the young man driving happened to cut off a police officer. And so we got pulled over, fair enough. And he came to the window and he said, what brings you here? Oh, FFA conference. He didn't know what FFA was. He wasn't sure. So here was two adolescent males and one adolescent female driving erratically on the streets of Twin Falls. He says, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, I'm from Blackfoot." One said, "Well, I'm from Kimberly." And the other said, "Well, I'm from Kuna." Obviously, none of it lined up. Luckily, we were able to call our advisors and say, "Hey, we need you to talk to this officer to explain where it is we come from." So I apologize for any run-ins that our students have with local law enforcement. Apologize in advance of that. It may be a bigger problem this year because we've got the largest registered audience that we've ever had. We have over 1,600 people signed up to be here this week. We're excited to have that happen. Some of those are parents, advisors, but we think that's about 1,300 students wearing blue jackets, just like the 6 of these here in the audience. Now, these 6 young students, these are the ones doing the work and holding the fame for us this week. I'm here to just help them do their jobs right and let them focus on the tasks before them. They're memorizing many pages of script. They're spending a lot of time on stage behind a microphone, reciting and reciting and reciting, and improving the program that we're going to put on for these students. I've invited each of them to talk about their name, their position, their hometown, and then some short 60-second bit about this year or about their journey as an FFA member that might help us visualize what it was for them. So if we can have, Justin, will you go out of the gates first? Thanks.
So my name is Justin Nesbitt. I'm originally from the Meridian chapter, and I'm the state FFA treasurer. And when my really first experience with ag education was actually before I even hit high school. I was still a middle school, and I was actually a little Freddy 4-H'er, I guess you could say. And I'm not going to diss on 4-H, it's a great organization. But at the local fair we had West Idaho Fair, you could always tell who was an FFA and who wasn't. FFA always showed first. They were always out there in their blue jackets, leading the way, showing all the younger generations kind of, this is how you're supposed to show a steer, a lamb, or whatever it was. And that was kind of my first experience with the whole FFA program. And I still remember just thinking like, wow, That is really cool, and that is something I want to do. And, well, look at me today, and that is something I can do.
My name is Emily Hicks, and I'm honored to be the 2014-2015 Idaho FFA State Reporter, originally from Middleton, Idaho, down in the Boise area. One of my favorite memories is the first memory I had with this officer team. A little bit less than 1 year ago, we were standing together with 20-some other individuals in the back of the auditorium, praying to hear our name called to run on stage. And the first time that we came together and met, we knew that we were going to give this year our all. And as we come down to the last 4 days, it's completely evident that that's what we've done. So we're very excited to share that experience with you and to have your support in all of our hard work.
So, hello everyone. My name is Clancy Johnston, and I'm the state secretary this year. I just wanted to start off by I was talking here with Chappie, and service before self. I think that is the coolest motto, and talk about something to truly live about. And I'm also amazed by the amount of wisdom in the room, and also the amount of gray hair. So. Or no hair. Okay. And so one of my favorite experiences this year was we have an opportunity to do what's called chapter workshops, chapter visits. And so we go to chapters and we sit in classrooms with 20 to 30 students, and we do a fun interactive activities that teach about leadership, agriculture, whatever we're trying to teach on. And we have this one activity where the students get into groups of 3, and for 1 minute they say, the greatness I see in myself is, and then they finish the sentence, and they have to say that for a minute. And for a lot of the students that we go to, 90% of it, it's really hard to feel that sentence. In fact, if I see like, the greatness I see in myself is, and finish that for a minute, it's kind of hard. And then we get back into those groups, and 2 people talk to 1 person. The greatness I see in you, the greatness I see in you, the greatness I see in you. And it's truly great to see at the end of the activity, truly, there's a lot of young people in Idaho that don't know how truly valuable they are. And it's just a really cool activity to say, hey, you're valuable, you have value, you have greatness in yourselves, and we see it, and we hope you do too. So FFA, really loved my time of service this past year.
Oh wait, my name is Garrett Rogan. I'm from Bear Lake, Idaho. I'm the state sentinel this year. And just a cool story, one of my favorite towns and favorite memories from growing up in high school was here in Twin Falls. My freshman year, I was on the horse judging team. I was the go-getter. I wanted to do everything, and so I just decided to sign up to judge horses. And I'd ridden a horse once, but never really shown or even looked at a horse, known what to look for. So I did it, and I actually got pretty good at it with my agriculture education class. And here at State, we were standing on stage, and they called my chapter's name, saying that we'd won. And that was one of the best feelings I'd ever had, because the hard work that I put into that actually paid off. That was the first time that I've ever had something like that ever paid off. So that's Twin Falls holds this really special place in my heart.
All right.
So my name's Amanda Hale, and I'm the Idaho FFA State Vice President this year. And as Seth was saying earlier, we had the opportunity to do a service project just in January. So we had all 6 national officers here, and we were blessed to have received 8,500 pounds of potatoes donated to us from local potato growers in the Burley and Magic Valley area. And so when we got to Boise, they were shipped over there. We had 132 members. We were thinking, oh boy, they're going to be up all night. We didn't even get to start the service project till 8 o'clock. So we're thinking, okay, we'll get them to bed by 11, midnight. At least they'll go straight to bed because they'll be so tired. And we get into the room, and the amount of energy and how much excitement was there was just amazing. And in 30 minutes, they were able to box up all 8,500 pounds of potatoes. Right? And it ended up creating over 72,000 meals. And so because of that service that they were able to do there and showed us how valuable of an experience it is, we have the chance for the first time ever to have service projects here in Twin Falls while we're here for these next 4 days. So we're really excited to be able to serve this great community that has done so much for us.
Hello everybody, my name is Mitch Royer and I'm the Idaho State FFA President. I'm originally from the very small town of Cambridge, Idaho. First off, this is my third event with the Rotary Club this year, and every single one of them has been a pleasure. They've been amazing, so let's give a round of applause to you guys for having me. So, when I got started in FFA, I grew up on a cattle ranch, but cattle were never just quite enough. I wanted to be able to do more at fair. So a little known fact about myself is I'm actually one of the best goat showers in the state of Idaho. So when I started, I was obviously a lot shorter, and I was, I guess you could say, goat height. Well, something happened my freshman year, and I grew to about 6 feet 3 inches tall, and I continued to show these goats. And so every year I would get to the fair and I'd go out and I'd show my beef steer or my heifer, pretty professional looking. And then on Wednesday, every day at fair, I would show my goat. It would be about this low right down here. FFA just gives you so many opportunities, and thank you so much for having us today. We're going to turn it back over to Seth.
Thanks, guys. I asked that of you 5 seconds before we sit down to the meal, and I know you're working really hard this week on a lot of public presence, but a year of practice has really paid off. We have 6 officers that do this every single year. They'll spend many, many days on the road, put several thousand miles on their trucks, and visit students all over the state. For those 4,000 members, it's these 6 faces that encourage a lot of the energy that they bring to their experiences in FFA. A couple of things I wanted to touch on before we leave. The first one was mentioned by Amanda, those service hours that we're going to put in this week. So this is a new goal. What we said was community service was so fun and to do it at a large level, not just at the chapter local level, but at a state level back in January. How do we do that again in April during state convention? So the sites we're working with, Parks and Rec, Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity, the hospital, United Dairymen of Idaho, Idaho Ag in the Classroom, and then an opportunity for elementary school students on the CSI campus. We're going to have 600 students working at that. We'll log several thousand volunteer hours on Friday. And so all I can say at this point is thank you. Thank you for the support to help us do those kind of things locally and teach our students the value of service when they're 14 years old, because that's when they should be learning it. Thank you for that support. Lastly is our FFA alumni. Alumni is growing quite a bit in the state, and we're relying more and more upon that type of support to provide opportunities for our students outside of the classroom. There are active alumni chapters all over the state, and so please in your home community seek out that person. The easiest way to do it is reach out to your local agriculture instructor. If that person perhaps isn't within reach, or if your local high school doesn't have an agriculture education program, we can reach out to the state office. If you just type in Idaho FFA or even ask us before we leave here today, we'd love to connect you with that. A key part of supporting our local chapters through the transition of teachers or setting up a new program relies upon local alumni support. That's our biggest tool in creating these opportunities for students, and that tool lies in your hands. So thank you for the meal, thank you for your time, thank you for your attention, and thanks for the support here in Twin. Thank you.